Torah Q A. Does learning Torah make you weaker? Yes, it does. Teaches in the Torah that when you learn Torah, it takes away from your strength. So does Torah learning make you weaker? Learning Torah makes you weaker. But Torah also teaches that a Jew should be strong in Kabbalah parts. The physical strength lessons and the spiritual power enhances. That's the conversion, really, kabbalistically, on a kabbalistic standpoint. The physical strength lessens and the spiritual power enhances. Nothing goes to waste here in Torah learning people. For example, King David, strong, very strong. Samson, very strong. Moshe, Rabbeinu, Moshe was very strong. As the Torah teaches as well, it asks, who is strong? One who conquers his evil inclination is the answer. So, as far as, conquering evil inclination and learning Torah, don't get the idea of a person who learns Torah is not strong, or a person who learns Torah is weak. Because, obviously if the person's truly Shomer Torah, religious Shomer Torah, I should say, question in the Torah, who is strong? One who conquers his evil inclination. So you better believe that. Also, keep in mind the power of learning Torah at the same time here, mind you folks, honestly. You could say the spirituality that the strength converts to is, spiritual energy, life force energy. Things that could save your life too, if you need it. If you lack inspiration, motivation, or if you feel sick, or if you are sick, or if you lack, like I said, motivation and or inspiration, or knowledge of life, knowing life, or knowing how to spiritually observe and view life from the honest internal standpoint. If you already put your mind to it, you can really go far spiritually, and pick your battles wherever you have to, really, instead of being physically strong and lacking wisdom, really, and just seeing things physically. I mean, as we all know, there are 5 soul levels, as the Torah teaches, as Kabbalah teaches. So, if you just want to be physically strong and that's all, how are you going to reach the 5th, the highest soul level? A strategy might be is, to reach whatever you got to, and to, lose some strength maybe, and then gain it back later on. So it's really strategizing on life, because, it's all about making sacrifices in life. And what better sacrifices is there as far as, learning Torah, which does make you weaker? That's your sacrifice to God, really, honestly. And so, as far as that goes, you make your sacrifice and then you go up. So it's kind of like, going to college, losing energy, losing motivation, losing drive, losing a lot of things, but because you have to, and it's going to really take you far later on. You're going to regain back what you had, maybe, 5, 6, 7, or 10 years later, what you had when you were in college, when you get yourself all settled up. And, the very best world champions have truly sacrificed a lot, and the very most successful people, honestly, in the world truly sacrificed a lot and came back to their power later on. And finally God unveils their little, scheme, divine scheme, or I should say divine plan, to everybody who thought they were fools, really. So there's a lot to keep in mind here, so don't get haridi on the strength part and be like, people saying, I don't want to learn Torah because it makes you weaker. The truth is, you don't really notice it, honestly, unless you really focus into it. But it's no loss as long as things are done the right way, honestly. So keep in mind again the power of learning Torah. Mind you, people. As the strong King David said, God is my strength. And King David also said the line, God is my rock and my redeemer. My rock here sounds like something to do with strength, no? On a kabbalistic standpoint, I'm not going to get into that, but there are some secrets kabbalistically on this. And by the way, of course, it requires the strength to learn Torah. God knows how much you got to suffer for that strength, huh? So, bear in mind just how much wisdom he had to go and learn Torah and then work on himself physically, King David, to get even stronger than he was previously, in all honesty. People like that, you can't tell if they learn Torah or not. A lot of people, make that mistaken identification. Then again, who's checking, huh? Who's judging? Not usually the ones who conquer their evil inclination, I'll tell you that. Proverbs teaches a conqueror of a city is better than a strong man. He had the wisdom. Then again, maybe you learn some Torah to acquire that spiritual power, I should say. The energy spiritually, or wisdom or knowledge to be a conqueror of a city. But then again, why not be a strong man and a conqueror of a city at the same time? If you have to, of course. Just examples here. Not to be one-dimensional the way Haredi, Torah, so-called, observant people like to religiously fool you in a religiously way of life, which is religiously according to their standards of brainwashing and controlling them. Not actual religious way, or what I like to call is the Shomer Torah ways or way. Dude. So, bear in mind in keeping the mitzvot, the commandments of the Torah, bear in mind in keeping the mitzvot, if you're too weak, can you really observe the mitzvot? So there's managing Torah study for you too. Because the Torah says, you learn and you perform. So if you learn so much Torah that you've gotten so much weaker, and it causes you not to, it causes you to be able to not keep the mitzvot, the commandments, to not keep the commandments, it causes you to not be able to keep the mitzvot. It's breaking a commandment. So how religious does that get, huh? They don't get religious that way. That ain't religious. So, if you're too weak, can you really observe the mitzvot? So mind you already need strength to keep the commandments, to keep the mitzvot. That's where it's going, huh? So you really need strength to keep the commandments. So it's kind of like a stock market here, no? It's kind of like a stock market here, as far as strength goes in Torah learning. You have so much wisdom that you're using strength for whatever to fix your life to the point where death becomes far from you. Really. So, as well, without strength, can you really know what kindness is to be kind? Think about that, folks. Bear with me that the Torah teaches if a person starts learning Torah, it says for him not to learn too much when he starts. Then again, for some people, too much could be for someone else, 2 hours could be too much for someone who's starting. Or then again, maybe a person who's left God, the Torah, God forbid, of course, and hasn't studied or learned Torah in a long time, maybe 4 or 5 hours is not too much for him. That's all. So it says not to learn too much when you start to learn Torah. teaches the Torah. Then again, too much for somebody else. Maybe an hour might be too much for somebody else, or maybe 2 hours might not be too much for somebody else. So play it that way, folks, if you want to know. So that's the answer. I know it's hard for some people to handle because they like learning Torah, they like the Torah, but that's the answer. It's hard to digest it myself, honestly, when I first learned this. So that's the truth. So Torah Q A. Does learning Torah make you weaker? The Torah teaches, yes, it does. Again, Torah Q A. Does learning Torah make you weaker? Yes, it does, folks. Yes, it does.